Hello everybody, welcome to Dude with a Fork. My name is Ken. On today's episode of Ken Cooks Stuff, we're making split pea soup. It's warm, it's nutritious, it's filling, and most importantly of all, it's easy to make and doesn't require a lot of ingredients. It's basically chopping some things up and then stirring them while they're on the stove. As always, if you like this kind of content, please subscribe. If you have any questions about this, please add a comment. I'll answer those as quickly as possible. And if you like this recipe and want to try it yourself, please hit the like button. It does not take long to get this going, so let's get started. And here are the ingredients we need to make some split pea soup. Obviously, we need a pound of split peas. And I know a lot of people just cut the bag open and dump them in. I always go through and look, see if there's any little rocks or anything in there. I mean, I never find anything, but the one time I skip that is the time that there's going to be a rock in there and someone's going to crack a tooth on it. So I always do that, and I give them a good rinse. So we are going to need some pearled barley, and I'm not going to use all of this bag. In fact, I think I'm only using a quarter cup. Yep, a quarter cup of this. So I'll use this for other things. This is really good. You can make soup just with pearled barley and mushrooms, which is really delicious if you like mushrooms. We're going to need some bacon. And this is some thick cut bacon I bought at Target, which I've never used before, so I'm kind of excited to try it. It does look not super lean, but that's okay. We want the fat. This is the only fat that's going in the dish. This is also the only meat that is going in the dish. So if you want to make this vegan, don't use bacon. Use whatever kind of oil that you like. We're going to use an onion. I've got this large onion here, and I'm probably going to use about half of this. We're going to need a potato. Yes, a potato. For spices, we're going to need thyme, which is really good in this dish. We're going to use, I always say to taste, I usually start with about a teaspoon. We're also going to need 3 or 4 bay leaves, which are always wonderful. And for some reason, when it comes to split pea soup, you all know I really love pepper, but white pepper just seems to work so well in this dish for me. I have no idea why. Of course, there's white pepper in this. This is actually a pepper melange. And white pepper is just the black pepper corn that they take the black coating off of, and the inside is white, and they grind it up. And it has a bit more bite than regular pepper. So, oh, and I also forgot too, if you get tired of thyme, you can always use herbes de Provence. This entire jar was like $5 at Trader Joe's, which is a really good price, and it comes with this, little tiny spoon. Ooh, fancy, right? But if you look in there, I don't know how well you'll be able to see this if I just aim this down the barrel of the camera here. This contains thyme, marjoram, savory. They don't say whether it's summer or winter. There's a difference there. Rosemary, basil, sage, and the little purple things, if you can see them, are lavender flowers. And this is magnificent stuff when you're roasting vegetables, especially like little red potatoes that you cut up and roast in the oven. They are so good with this. So this time, I'm just going to stick with the thyme. But next time, it's cold, so I'm going to make this again in a few weeks. I'll probably try this and see how it goes. We're also going to need 1 single carrot, and we're going to need 1 stalk of celery. 1 rib of celery, I guess. And I just got this from the store, and I always try to get the leafiest celery that I can find, because these leaves have a lot of flavor. I find people throw them away, and they say, well, they might be bitter. They actually have really concentrated celery flavor. And so I always look for that. And I'm not, I have a terrible time using up an entire head of celery like this. So I'm probably going to cut up most of this, I think, blanch it, and then run it through my food dehydrator. So then I'll always have celery. But the carrots and the celery aren't going to go in until the end. So I'm going to start with the onion and the bacon and meet you over at the stove. All right, so I've got about 2 slices of that bacon that I've chopped up and I've put in here, and I am just going to add our onions. I don't really care if stuff gets browned at this point. And that seems like a lot of fat, but that's okay. We've got a lot of onions going in and other ingredients. So I'm just going to go in with our onions, and always pour things away from you. That way, if the grease splashes, it goes that way instead of coming at you. So just going to get those onions in here. And I'm not really interested in doing much with these guys other than just getting them softened up a little bit. So And this you can see, obviously, why I like this soup so much, because this is a huge flavor base to start from. So I am going to cook these until they soften up a little bit, and keep stirring them so that they don't stick, although I think we're doing well here so far. And I'll be back in just a few moments. All right, it's been about 5 minutes, and you can see that our onions have softened up quite a bit, and they've taken on a little bit of color just from the bacon, and that's just fine. And I tasted a little piece of this bacon, and it tasted like onion. So after a little bit, then it started to taste like bacon, and it tastes pretty good, I got to admit. So what this thing is like a bell when you tap your spoon on it, so it resonates. What I'm going to do now is, remember that potato? I peeled and grated it, and to keep it from turning dark, I added about a cup of water to this. So I'm going to go ahead and add that, and I'm going to add 1 more cup of water, and then I'm going to do something that's kind of weird sounding, I guess, but I'm going to turn this up to high, and I'm going to boil this until most of that potato just dissolves. This is just going to help thicken the soup. So I'm going to crank it up here, get it to a boil, and we'll be back in a little bit. Okay, so it's been about 10 minutes of really hard boiling. They're starting to get to that point where they're breaking apart. You know, if you ever made mashed potatoes from scratch, and you think you've overcooked them, and you stick a fork in them and they just completely fall apart. They're starting to get to that point, and they will finish doing that as we cook the rest of it. You can see how thick this has become. So this is a really stick to your ribs kind of meal. So what I've got over here in this little dish is 5 bay leaves, and notice I said 5, and I have a teaspoon of thyme that we're going to add in. And the reason I said 5 bay leaves is always count your bay leaves, because you need to pull them back out before you serve, and if you don't know what went in, you don't know what's coming back out. So I'm gonna put these in here and just stir them up, and I just realized I forgot to draw some water, because I'm gonna add the peas in next. So let me go get that ready, and we'll come back to this. But like I said, if you put 5 bay leaves in, you need to get 5 bay leaves out. If you put 5 bay leaves in and you only pull 4 out, you're in trouble, because there's still a bay leaf in there. On the other hand, if you put 5 bay leaves in and you pull 6 out, then you've got a magic pot. So let me grab the peas in the water, and we'll be right back. All right, so we're going to add 8 cups of this total, of water to this total. So I'm going to add 4 cups right now. And there's a couple of reasons for that. Number one, I want this to quit boiling, so it's not steaming as much into the camera. And the other thing is, I took the peas and I sorted through them, and I rinsed them. I didn't have to worry about the barley, but they're starchy and they stick together, and so they tend to work as a clump. So I just kind of want to ease these in here, and if they splash, I don't want boiling water on me. So you can see how very clumpy they are, and that's okay. I mean, they will. I mean, look at that. That's like a big, huge clump. So, and they've been sitting there maybe 5 minutes. So, like I said, I don't want boiling water shooting up at me if they splash in there. So, I'm just going to get all of these in here. And of course, I should have put them in the other way, but it's kind of difficult to do that when there's a tripod in your way. So, all right. 1 piece of barley, get away. All right, so I'm just going to go in here and they break up pretty easily. Yeah, so that was a full pound of green split peas. Technically you could make this with the yellow ones, I guess. I've never done that, but I don't see why you couldn't. I just always think of split pea soup as being very pea green in color. So, all right, so you can see those are falling apart now. And I'm just going to kick up the heat a little bit just to bring it back up to a boil. In the meantime, I'm going to get another probably 2 cups of water. I know I said 8, We want 8 total, but remember we added some with the potato, and also the barley's going to need some. So it takes about 8 to cook the peas, but we're just gonna kind of wing it here. It takes between 8 and 10. So I would rather add 8, and then if I need to add more later, I can, as opposed to adding 10 right from the get-go and then having to cook this forever just to boil off those extra 2 cups of water that we didn't need. So I'm going to bring this up to a boil, and then once it comes up to a boil, it's going to go down on a simmer, and it's going to cook for at least an hour and a half until those peas are tender and kind of falling apart. Because this is starchy, remember I said, and you notice all those peas have gone straight to the bottom. Okay, these will stick and they will scorch. So you do need to come in here. You don't want to have this on a super high temperature, which is part of the reason they take so long. And also you don't want them to stick together like that. So what was I saying? Yeah. Anyway, low temperature is the reason why they take so long time to cook. That's the point I was trying to make. So anyway, I'm going to bring this up to a boil, and we'll be back just so that we know what that looks like. See you in a bit. And here we go. We have a nicely simmering pot of split pea soup that's in the very early stages. So I want to keep it at about this level of simmering. I'm just going to set a timer for 10 minutes, and every 10 minutes I'll just come and give this a gentle stir. I realize I forgot a couple of things. I need about a teaspoon of salt in here, and that doesn't seem like a whole lot necessarily for the amount of soup, but I don't know how much salt you're going to get from that bacon. And I also realized I forgot pepper. So I'm going to add right now about half a teaspoon of white pepper, and that is what white pepper looks like. It's not actually white, it's kind of a grayish tan color. So I'm going to add those in and give them a good stir. And after this, I'm pretty much just going to leave it alone and let it do its thing. I'll set a timer, like I said. I'll come back every 10 minutes, just give it a gentle stir just to make sure it's not sticking. I'll be able to keep an eye on the water level that way. If I think I need to add more water, I can. So I'm going to set a lid on here. I'm going to set it just slightly ajar, and we'll be back when it's done. And we're back. We've been at this for about 40 minutes, and you can see this is where we're at right now. And I've pulled out a couple of these split peas, and they are not completely cooked all the way through. And you can see this is quite thick. So right now I'm going to add, this is that entire stalk of celery, and I'm going to get all of that in there. And then that carrot turned out to be rather bigger than I thought. So this is a lot of carrots. So I'm only going to use about half of this. And I'll figure out something to do with the rest of this carrot. I like the celery and carrot in here, but it's split pea soup with a little extra in it. I don't want it to become carrot and split pea soup. So I am going to go ahead and grab another cup of water. And we're going to do this 1 cup at a time and see how it looks. If I think it looks good as is, I can let it go and come back and always add another cup later. So that looks a little bit better. Remember that some of this is still going to get absorbed by the peas and the barley, and the carrots and the celery will give a little bit off. So I'm going to keep stirring this for about every 10 minutes for about half an hour, and then we'll come back and see what it looks like. Okay, we have finally arrived. Let me get the lid off here. There's a fair amount of steam in there. This is a nicely simmering pot of split pea soup. We've been going at this. It cooked a little bit faster than I thought it would. I don't know why. I do know why. I bought peas that were this year's harvest, so they were really, really fresh. The older beans and peas and lentils get, the longer they take to cook, and these were probably harvested, 3-4 months ago, so they're going to cook a little bit faster. I am going to, as you can see, this will actually thicken a little bit as it cools, but you can see we have the barley in there that adds a nice bit of chew. You can still find the bacon. The carrots and celery are perfectly cooked. They're nice and tender without being mushy. I'm going to go through and find all 5 of my bay leaves, and then I'm going to serve this up in a bowl and head over to the table, and we'll give it a taste. See you in a bit. And here we are with our bowl of split pea soup, and you can see how marvelously thick it is. I've never had split pea soup with barley in it before, and it's something I started adding just to give a little bit of extra texture to it, and it turned out to be really, really wonderful. I did taste this over at the stove. It has just the right amount of salt. I am going to hit it with just a little bit more of this white pepper. I just love pepper in all its many forms. So I'm going to stir that in and give it a taste here real quick. You know what? I want a bit with carrot in it. There we go. Okay, here we go. Oh my gosh. That is just, that is so amazing. Yeah, I really do want to make it next time with the herbes de Provence, just to see if I can get it to taste even better than this. This is so rich and hearty and satisfying. And look, usually we make split pea soup with ham. I don't often have ham, but I do usually have bacon sitting around. So this uses bacon. If you want a vegan version, leave the bacon out, or use vegan bacon, I guess. Inevitably, somebody will say, "Well, could you put sausage in there?" And I don't see why not. I wouldn't go with a really spicy sausage, but yeah. Oh, you know, I have oyster crackers. There we go. That is so good. I am making this on a Monday, and I'm going to have this for dinner all week long, and I will not get tired of this. Usually if I cook something and I eat it all week, by the end of the week I'm like, you know, usually by Wednesday or Thursday I'm like, yeah, maybe the rest of this will go in the freezer. This will not. Actually, I'm going to give some of this to a friend of mine, so I don't think it'll last me all week, but that's okay. Oh, and I did dig through the pot over on the stove, and I got all 5 bay leaves out. Do be careful about dipping your fingers into super hot liquid. I need to have another taste of this, though. This is so good. I could probably eat this whole pot. This is so amazing. So do try this if you like soups. If you've ever been intimidated by making split pea soup, I know I've met some people who are like, oh, that's complicated. No, it's not. So it's really super easy. Just got to remember to stir it every 10 minutes. If you're forgetful like me or you get busy on other things, just set yourself a timer. So there you go. Split pea soup with bacon. It's delicious.
And that's it, folks. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. Please do try this dish if you're into split pea soup. I think you'll enjoy it and find it easy to make. If you do, please leave a comment. Let me know what you thought. If you did any tweaks, please let me know that as well. As always, thanks for watching. Please like or comment or subscribe to this video. If you do subscribe, be sure to hit the bell icon so you get notifications when new videos go up. As always, stay safe, stay sane, and power to the proletariat. We'll see you next time.